Everton FC are in turmoil right now. Frank Lampard is a Rizzler paper away from being sacked. And if Everton get relegated from the Premier League to the Championship this season, it really doesn't look like a good look, does it? Because £500 million in 10 years and nothing to show other than a new stadium in the Championship. You can't write it any worse, can you, for Everton fans? Obviously, Liverpool fans and fans who don't like Everton FC, this is probably a good video for you, isn't it? Because today I'm going to be speaking about, is it Frank Lampard's fault? Is it the chairman's fault? Is it the players' fault? Or is it just a mixture of every, is it a combination of all of them? But if you haven't already, please can you go and subscribe to the channel? I do appreciate all the subscriptions that I have been getting recently. Obviously, I've got a thing there. Comment below and like if you like the video. I'm sure Everton fans won't like this, but if you have a look here from the screenshot, this is Everton's form this season. It's a lot of red, isn't it? 3 greens indicating wins, obviously, and their last win coming at home against Crystal Palace on the 22nd of October. We have had a Halloween, we have had bonfire night, and we have had Christmas since Everton last won a game. I'm sure people would like to listen to that little fact again. I'm sure my mates who are the Reds fans do appreciate that as well. But today we're going to be obviously speaking about Everton and what went right for them this season. There's very little, obviously, but I feel like what went right for them last season is very much comparative to what happened this season with what went right. If you have a look at the last couple of games, obviously Manchester City drew. That's weird to say. Drew 1-1 to Everton at the Etihad, and it went well for them this season. For that game, because ultimately they went for a back 5, and I'm not really sure why they're sticking with this back 4 system. Because if you look at the back end of last season, they would go with Gordon and Richarlison to go forward. They would have a back 5 and then really camp themselves a really, really good defensive unit. And for some reason this season, they've gone back to the Rafa Benitez route, where it's the back 4, and they're looking very, very weak at the back. I'm not too sure why they're not using the greatest strength. They're just using the best weaknesses, essentially, in games. And this is why it shows that the amount of reds that are on this screenshot right now. Obviously, the likes of the 3-0 away loss to Bournemouth, the loss to Leicester, the loss to Wolverhampton Wanderers, and especially the last game, the Brighton game, where they conceded 3 goals in 300 seconds, by the way. And no matter what you can do as a manager, obviously it is Frank Lampard's fault in terms of how they set up, but no matter what you can do as a manager, or what you can't do as a manager, is you can't lead them onto a pitch and for them to collapse in such a manner, because that one really has to go to the players. Because look at the players that they signed this season. You got the likes of Onana, who's looking like a good prospect before all this happened the last few games. Tarkowski, a great leader at the back. Connor Cody is the same. Idrissa Gueye, who's got a lot of experience with PSG, as well as coming back to Everton, experienced player. You've got Jordan Pickford in net, obviously a leader. James Garner, who's going to come through. I'm sure he'll be a good player in a couple of seasons' time, but it doesn't help right now. Neil Maupay, who came from Brighton. Now, I'm not too sure about that signing. It isn't looking great, and we could all see it, because he wasn't great at Brighton, really, was he? Great at everything but scoring a goal, and ultimately, as a striker, that isn't good enough. So the recruitment is there for Frank Lampard. That's what he wanted. It wanted to shore up the defence. But the leaders on the field aren't performing the way that they should be. Obviously, 300 seconds to concede 3 goals, that is the players' fault. And the chairman's providing the players, or the manager with the players. So is it his fault? This season, you can't say it is. Obviously, over the last 10 seasons, it has been. And it seems a bit more of an issue of a culture at Everton rather than the chairman or the players or the manager. Because ultimately, Rafa Benitez lasted 6 months. Frank Lampard is probably going to last another 3 games. Marco Silva didn't last long. Ronald Koeman didn't last long. Carlo Ancelotti, the greatest manager probably of all time, only got them to a 10th place finish. There seems to be a real disruption of culture at Everton now. And it seems like a poison chalice for whoever next gets the job. if Frank Lampard does get sacked, that is obviously, and it is looking like the impending doom is lurking over him right now. Would Sean Dyche want it? Not too sure, but he has to come back at some point, or else he'd become irrelevant like Alan Kirbishley, and almost like Eddie Howe. Selling Richarlison was a massive loss for him this season. That was obvious, and they haven't recovered from that. Dominic Calvert-Lewin hasn't come back, and they always seem to be, oh, if we get Dominic Calvert-Lewin back, if we have him back, we'll be fine. He hasn't come back, and ultimately he's injured 9 times out of 10. So he won't be back probably for another 3 games if he comes back for one. So you can't trust him. You can't trust the players. You can't trust the manager. You can't trust the chairman. As an Everton fan, please can you leave a comment below? I cannot see anything other than a dark cloud around you right now, and I do feel sorry for you. With this new stadium coming, is it just going to be a case of you in the Championship? It's just a rinse and repeat system of new managers with new styles, and this is probably the issue now that Frank Lampard's got. He's had an amalgamation of different systems with different players, and he's gone for the route of leaders. And like I said, he's gone to the back four, so he's not helping himself either. Let me know in the comments below if there's any suggestion on how to help Everton FC this season, or if you're a Liverpool fan, any suggestions to make it any worse. Maybe Steven Gerrard can come in. It can't get any worse, can it? But this one's been a bit more of a sit down and talk. I haven't done this in a while. I've done more of a stat-based one, a bit more cuts. And I wanted to show off a little graphic, to be honest with you, as well. So if you haven't already, please can you go and subscribe to the channel. I want to just see what this sort of style is like. I need a drink now because my mouth's feeling a bit cotton. But if you haven't already, like I say, please can you go and subscribe to the channel. Please can you like and comment below what you thought on the video itself. I'm sure I'll have some sort of graphic next to me here, maybe an Everton badge and Frank Lampard. Yeah, and I hope you all have a lovely day, lovely night, and I'll probably see you next for the Chelsea versus City game, unless it's an absolute 0-0 horrendous game. I probably will be reviewing that as well. So yeah, I will see you all soon. And yeah, peace, guys. Cheers.